Good afternoon and welcome back to my second day at Celebration of Harry Potter here at Universal Orlando Resort. Today is the last day though. I'm gonna try to get in and see some of the panels, maybe like see some of the actors up close. I don't know if I'll be able to do that, but I'm gonna give it a try. And then we're gonna go into the expo again and see if there's anything that we missed. Oh yeah, happy Sunday. The first day we came, it was about an hour after the park opened and the security line was crazy. Today it's about 1:30, 1:45. Not too bad at all. The lower amount of people coming in might be due to the weather as well, as it is pretty darn cold today and rainy, so I can imagine people might not want to come and hang out in the parks today. Interesting fact, they have like hot heat, like little heating pads that they're using to warm up the fingerprint readers today, because it's like, it's not freezing cold out. It's around 50 degrees outside, but it's still pretty cold for the computer equipment here that's used to all of the hot weather. It's probably like the fingerprint readers are fogging up or something like that. Well, it's pretty interesting. First stop is over here at the main Music Plaza stage to see Paul Harris. He's teaching some wand choreography. Paul Harris is the one that did all of the choreography for the wand scenes in all of the Harry Potter movies.
My name's Sean. Who are you?
I'm Tim.
All right, let me ask you this question. Who's ready for combat? The world's only wand combat choreographer. Give it up for Mr. Paul Harris.
Basically, what I have done is essentially taken the audience through the exact same, well, a shortened version, but the exact same preparation that all of the actors did on Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. I want to create a sort of scene as if you were all supporting artists in a movie. Show me your wand, show me, show me, show me. Right, so what I want you to do is to bend your knees. Everybody, bring your side on to me. Not your wand arm side, the other side. Flex your knees, stay down, nose over toes. Bring your wand arm underneath your free arm and crucially rotate it inwards. That way. And the reason for the rotation is that, again. Thank you. Swish and flick. Here we are, and Warwick Davis is here this weekend, so swish and flick. Now let me see that. You're going to bring the arm back and over your head. Now I want you to use your free arm like this. Line up your eye, your wand, and your counterbalancing arm aimed at your enemy. I want to hear venom. Ready? Move number 3, and then move number 1. Stand by. Here we go. Stand by. Action. 3, 1! Here we go! Action! Oh, not bad! Oh. Right! Now, okay, are we ready? Action! Keep it going! And the Death Eaters collapse! And thank you so much. You've been a fantastic audience. Enjoy the rest of the weekend and see you in London.
That was super fun. Like, I wish I had brought my wand so that I could have joined in, but I didn't have it. So Universal did something really cool for the Harry Potter celebration event down here in their New York area. They installed something on a door that I think you guys will find very familiar if you've seen Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Let's go check it out. If you're standing in front of Transformers and you turn to the left and you see the film vault, continue to turn to the left. And then you'll see this little alleyway where everybody's standing taking pictures, and we'll show you guys what's back there. Does this look familiar to you guys? Coming over here to the Expo entrance, and it is a 120-minute wait. Holy macaroni. All right, let's go see the other Expo hall, because that one had a lot shorter wait. So even though Soundstage 33 had a huge, long 120-minute line, Soundstage 21 still has 0 line. They also took out all of the poles that they were using for line separation back there. Because it was a little bit rainy this morning, they moved the chalk artists inside. This is amazing. Wanted to see the progress of the fan mosaic. It is almost done. You can see that it's made up of a bunch of little pictures that people have taken throughout the weekend. He just said that it was actually done, but they're just trying to get as many fan faces in rather than words and stuff like that. Over top of the exit, they've got a gobo that is in a rumpent from Fantastic Beasts.
Which fiendish creatures are seen in the room of requirement when Harry is searching? Team Snitches.
Cornish pixies.
Cornish pixies is correct. Which means, ladies and gentlemen, that Snitches has won!
This is one of the prizes that was won for the trivia game. Pretty neat. Heading over to Islands of Adventure now to see if we can get into a panel that Warwick Davis is doing over there in the Toon Lagoon Amphitheater. And there's not as many people over in this park as there is in the other one. A shot of Hogwarts Castle over the lagoon here. You gotta admit, if you are not a big Harry Potter fan, this is the weekend to come to Islands of Adventure because everything's pretty much a walk-on. Take for instance Spider-Man behind me. It's only a 5-minute wait. I just tripped on the curb. We're in the Toon Lagoon Amphitheater for a panel on discovering the secrets behind creature effects with Nick Dundman and Warwick Davis.
There's lots of different effects departments. We produce, if you like, organic effects. Anything that involves sculpting, molding, and changing animals or people in 3D for real on set, and that's us.
Welcome to this panel. Nick, now everyone knows who I am because I was in the film, but thank you very much, I'll pay you later. But I'm sure they're wondering who you are and what your role was in creating the Harry Potter films. Would you care to tell us?
My department was responsible for all the animatronic creatures that worked on set, all the prosthetic makeups that long-suffering actors like Warwick wore. If you're doing puppets or bits of people or things that operate in front of the camera as opposed to digital things which are put on afterwards.
What your department did was, I think you created the real magic, the real sleight of hand in this film, and we're going to take you through some of the things Nick did. Because you create all sorts of things for the film. Tell us about some of your creations.
Well, originally I saw them over goblins, because there was talk of even back then doing digital goblins.
Now I expect you guys here would like to know how Nick would turn someone as good looking and handsome as me into an ugly old goblin.
For close-up work, we make prosthetic makeups, which are multi-piece silicone gel pieces that are glued directly on the actor's face, head, body, wherever he needs help. If you're doing background things, I've had loads of background goblins, you do pull on masks, anything that makes the job easier, because a makeup like Warwick's is a 4-hour job.
Took 3 people, your good self included, and then the finishing touches to that would be the very large 23mm contact lenses, and then the dentures, the teeth, and then the picture was complete. And it was very strange for me as an actor looking in the mirror and not seeing any of me looking back. Not even my eyes were looking back at me. A completely different character was before me, and it was a very, very kind of unnerving experience, but quite empowering as well.
If we do anything, and you at any point go, well that's cool, that's clever, I wonder how they did it, then we have failed. Because strangely, I don't want you to really notice my work or think about it, because what you should be thinking about is the story.
Sometimes they need to make replicas of the actors themselves. So how do you explain this? There. So what is this here? Obviously it's Harry Potter, Daniel Radcliffe.
Well, that is a dummy of Daniel, but it's 82% of real life in scale.
So this is the moment when Voldemort went, Harry Potter is dead! Bye! Because it feels very realistic.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all jointed, soft silicone.
Yes, it looks very peaceful there as well.
Yeah.
And his fingers, you can sort of...
No, don't do that.
That's right. Thank you very much, Vanessa. Yeah. Now in the film, Ron is famously scared of spiders. How did Dan and Rupert in real life react to Aragog, your creation?
Aragog did climb out of the hole, okay? And he's basically on one end of a massive seesaw with a massive counterweight. He's on a track, like a sort of rather angry small locomotive. And we have to get the legs out of the hole and then bring the body up behind it while the legs position themselves. At the bottom of the short slope, you've got Dan and Rupert. And to be honest, Rupert doesn't like spiders. So we were doing this, and they did freak out. Completely. They definitely freaked out because the movement is spider-like, it is creepy. We were freaking out because it was 2.5 tons, and it's on the top of a small slope. over the talent.
Now, all these things are real, they're all authentic. If you want to see more of this, and you happen to be in London, do please go to the Warner Brothers studio tour, the making of Harry Potter.
Back over to Universal Studios to try to get to the last panel, which is a film talent Q&A. See if we can get in there. Superstar Parade passing by behind everybody. Nobody's paying attention to it though, because we're all waiting for the Q&A.
What was the most embarrassing moment on set?
Oh God.
In unison.
I forgot my lines. There's a line that never made it in the second film because I couldn't remember it. I wore braces at the time and struggled to get the words out, and after about 4 or 5 takes I just cried. And then and then Chris Columbus came up to me and said, "Don't worry, man, don't worry, like, we got it, it's gonna make it in the movie." It didn't. That's pretty embarrassing.
As Professor Flitwick, I actually wear dentures as the character, these most perfect set of white teeth. And there was a moment during the crowd surfing scene, the camera's above looking down on the character, and as I'm being surfed and moved across the crowd, I'm being grabbed in rather inappropriate places. And one time I was grabbed, it made my teeth shoot out my mouth. But then they drop back in again perfectly, so look out for that in the movie.
Is it actually in the final?
It's there, yeah. It was just like, whoa!
What is it about Harry Potter that makes you guys as big a fans as we are?
I was such a huge fan of the books when I was a kid, and I think a large part of my love for it came from being quite an awkward child, as I'm sure you're all aware. And there's always something, a wonderful thought that just beyond that brick wall in London, there was a whole magical world in which you were so much more. The idea that could be possible, that escapism is there, and then you find out that you don't need that magical world. It's all in there the whole way, and the characters are what show that. So I love that about the stories.
I'm kind of the opposite actually. What I really loved about it was that although there's all the magic and there's, you know, walking through the wall at King's Cross Station and spells and stuff, it felt incredibly real. You didn't need to look very far to find the kinds of forces that the kids are banding up against in the real world, and that the story at the heart of Joe's stuff was completely real, and about how you should have faith in yourself, and that honesty and trust and love will conquer evil in the world. And I thought that stuff was what made me love it.
Something as seemingly fictitious as Harry Potter seems more real, and it seems like I can relate more to this than I can do to the actual world of reality. So it's sort of reinventing what's possible. I think Joe said it lovely in the last premiere, where, you know, Hogwarts will always be there, although it may seem like this fictitious place that's not real. Of course it's real. Of course you've all been there, like we all have. And I think that's what's so great about the community of it all. Like it's definitely alive.
And everybody belongs there. There's a place for everyone in it. That's what she said.
Yeah, man.
What is your favorite female character in the Harry Potter series?
You are right now. Where is she? I can't even.
A little bit over.
Hello, little one. Right.
She's got that lovely blue sky.
I loved. I've got 2 daughters, and one of the reasons I think that they love the books, they love the films, is that they loved Hermione because she was smarter than everybody else, and she didn't play second fiddle to the boys, and she wasn't there to make the boys look smarter. In fact, as far as I'm concerned, she's the strongest character in the whole thing.
I like Mrs. Weasley. I thought she was lovely. Yeah, I think that. Although, I mean, we'll say while we're talking about female characters, what's up with the goblins? Where's the lady goblins?
This is
What's going on with that?
You mentioned this to it yesterday.
Yeah.
But it was a revelation. We've never seen.
We've never talked. I mean, where are they back at home? I mean, no wonder the goblins are all so moody.
I don't know that the goblins we saw weren't female.
They're all chaps, though, aren't they?
I didn't see them naked.
Good point.
Oh, now I've got an image in my head I don't want.
If you could have one of the Deathly Hallows in real life, which would it be and why?
I think I know this. Okay, so there's the cloak.
I'll go for the
which
cloak.
is the invisibility, obviously.
Yeah, always.
There's the wand, the powerful wand, and the ring. The resurrection stone. You can bring someone back from the dead. So you're either like really powerful, invisible, or you can bring someone back from the dead.
Anything. Cheers, mate. Invisible. I think, would be the most fun.
Yeah, I'm invisible for me, yeah.
That's the right one though, isn't it? That's the best. Isn't that the guy who lasted the longest? Was the invisible one?
Right.
Yeah, that's true. That's the right one.
I've heard someone.
What was the most difficult thing to film?
The most challenging thing to film.
Oh, I mean, all of it was such a pleasure. It's hard to really use the word difficult as if it was a chore or a task. But I had a particularly dicky tummy. For those of you who don't understand that English paraphrase, it means I'm a bit sensitive around like certain types of food. And the Great Hall, they used to have these massive feasts that were incredible on the first hour of them producing it, but when you've been filming it for 2 weeks, they more or less just keep microwaving the same food constantly, and I would be particularly sensitive to that. So that was about as challenging mentally as it got. Physically, there were things, obviously, it got hot or it got cold, or you had a harness attached to your private parts that were whisking you across the room, etc. Broomsticks were a little tough for that same reason.
What was your favorite part playing father and son?
Well, I'll tell you my not favourite part. When I first met, when we did our first scene that was actually cut from the film, it was on the extras at Morgan and Box, and I had that cane that they just made for me. I'd asked for it, but it came and had very, very sharp fangs on it. Even the ones you can buy in the shops, I think, very sharp fangs. And the first line I said to him is he touched something, and I said, "Don't touch, Draco," and I kind of meant to just put my cane on him. I wasn't really used to the weight of it, and I swung it, and these two fangs went into this very sweet 11-year-old's knuckles and pierced the skin. And he looked up at me, and his big eyes went wide and filled with tears. And you know, the cameras are on. We finished the scene, and afterwards I went, "God, Tom, I'm so sorry." He's actually like, "No, that's all right. It was really good for the scene. It was all right."
I'll never forget it.
Terrible.
Actually, going back to difficult things, that was one of the most difficult. Not just being whacked by Jason, but the nature of the man, that he would be incredibly nice and keen to tell you stories and help you and answer questions. And I was like, oh yeah, I like this guy. Like, Jason seems really cool. And action. Whack with the stick.
What was your favorite movie to film?
They're all great. And honestly, the first one was amazing because we felt just like with kids just messing around. I didn't feel like I did a single iota of work, probably for the first 4 or 5 years, really. Half-Blood Prince was also a favourite of mine just because it involved Draco a bit more and got to understand his story a bit more.
The first film, obviously, we're all brand new. It was literally like we're starting at our first day at school and getting to know each other. And you know, each film was lovely to come back because I think it was a surprise to many of us each time we would come back again. Nice to be involved again, and yeah, it was lovely to be able to complete the full journey. So that was great.
I kind of in agreement with Tom. Like all the films were so brilliant, but the middle ones tend to sort of merge into one for me over those years, just having so much fun and not really caring which movie you're making. But the first and the last really stick out in my mind. I can remember my last day on set and my very first day on set more vividly than anything else. So if you'd allow me two, I'd say the first and the last films.
I'm not that much of a fan of the first, third and sixth films because I wasn't in them. So I like the ones that I'm in. They were great.
Were you able to take anything from the set?
Any personal props?
Yes. You mean, were we gifted anything or did we steal anything?
Gifted would be a better word.
I did borrow a Slytherin ring that Draco wore, and a tie pin. I think those are the only two things I managed to smuggle away, to be honest.
I've got Neville's cardigan from the last movie.
Which, by the way, I just bought in the Universal store. I'm very excited to be wearing Neville's cardigan. Sorry, I did. I just got it.
I've got some bits of my face. I've got the original Flitwick from the first two films. I've got his forehead, and I got quite a few noses of the older Flitwick from the most recent films. And I've also got a goblin nose. I've got some. Oh yeah, I've got my grip hook teeth and my Flitwick teeth as well. And I tell you, the Flitwick teeth are brilliant. They're the most perfect set of teeth. They're like Simon Cowell's teeth. It's perfect teeth. And I wore them to the dentist once, okay? And I laid in the chair, and he said, "Let's have a look." Then I opened up, and he said, "Yeah, there's something not quite right here." And then I went out to the reception. I took the teeth out, and I went, "I'm never coming here again." And threw the teeth down on the desk. And frightened the receptionist to death. Lovely.
Did you find yourself while you were on set wanting to ask for anyone's autographs? Do you guys ever get starstruck?
After I got the job, we did the read-through, and it's the first time I'd met most of the guys, and I got sat next to Rick Mail, who is one of the most amazing comic actors in British history, and he was playing Peeves the Poltergeist in the first movie. And I was a huge fan of Rick Mail and Drop Dead Fred and countless other things that he'd done, and he sat next to me at the first read-through. By mistake, he wasn't even meant to be, but he moved the place cards and sat next to me. And I asked him to sign my script. And he ended up not even being in the final movie. He was cut out. Still got that, I'll never forget that, yeah, Rick Mail.
I did the same thing, you just reminded me. I got it from my brother, who's a huge Rick Mail fan, as was I. And he signed it to Ashley, happy birthday, Rick Mail, kiss, 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 on the bum. I always thought that was funny. That, and I had a huge crush on Bellatrix. She's kind of weird because she was my auntie, but there's something about Helena that I find intoxicating, let alone when she's as mad Bella.
They were kids when they started. I was an adult and I had queued up in the rain to watch people like Maggie Smith and Michael Gambon and Richard Harris on stage. They were just icons of my generation. I had to pretend they're my contemporaries. And it was very hard because really I was just so intimidated by them.
I mean, you couldn't help but be starstruck. I remember one of my first days in the Great Hall. I was sitting at the head table and looked to my left and right and see the likes of Robbie Coltrane, Maggie Smith, Richard Harris, Alan Rickman, and think, how did I get here? I'm not worthy to be sat here amongst these great British actors. It was terrific. It was really great.
I heard them saying the same thing.
Were they saying the same thing?
About you. They said, how did Warwick get here?
To be fair, Warwick was the only adult actor that I knew who he was.
Thank you.
I'd seen Willow. I was a huge fan of Willow. I thought Gary Oldman worked there as one of the security.
That's not a big enough cheer for Willow. Sorry.
Willow! Thank you very much for having us.
One more big round of applause for Mr. Tom Felton, Jason Isaacs, Matthew Lewis, and Warwick Davis. Each year you make this a bigger event than last year, and hopefully we will make it even better next year. Thank you all for joining us at a celebration of Harry Potter.
What an excellent last day of celebration of Harry Potter. I'm sorry if the video got a little shaky at the end there. I was just holding the camera up for so long my arms started to give out on me. So I hope it wasn't too bad. And I hope that you guys could see what some of the panels were. This is the first year I've ever done panels, and they were interesting. They were really interesting. I think next year I'm going to come back and do more panels. And I think I'm going to bring the tripod next time. I don't know if the tripod would have worked, but I think I'm going to bring it next year. Back home, it got really cold later. So I'm glad that I'm back home in the warmth of our heated house now. Also, I stopped off at Publix on the way home, and Publix chicken tender subs are on sale. So delicious dinner for me tonight. So I am off, and I will see you guys tomorrow. And now it's time to pay the price.